Blessings on all those who have come. For those who don't know me, my name is Rabbi Shmueli Feldman, and I, together with my dear wife, Rabbi Chasia, run Chabad ACT, which also serves the Jewish and wider community in the ACT and region. Your Excellencies, ambassadors for Israel, Argentina, Romania, chiefs of mission and consuls and diplomatic staff of Belgium, Poland, and other embassies. Ministers, shadow ministers, honorable senators and members of the House of Representatives from all sides of politics, and in particular the Jewish MPs, the Honorable Michael Danby, the Honorable Josh Frydenberg, Dr. Mike Freelander, the Honorable Mark Dreyfus, and Julie and Lisa, who are jointly hosting this historic event. Sterling Griff, the senator, has apologized as he has had to stay home for a personal matter. I pray for him and his family to be well. Leader of the ACT opposition and other ACT MLAs. Rabbis who have traveled from interstate, leaders, ministers, bishops, representatives of the Baha'i, Christian, Hindu, Jewish, Muslim, Sikh, and other faith communities from the ACT and interstate. Members of Chabad ACT Jewish community and of the ACT Jewish community, whose rabbi and president are here today. Yael Kass is also here as vice president of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry. Last but not least, of course, my dear parents, Rabbi and Rebbetzin Feldman from Sydney, and other family and friends who have traveled to be with us today. Friends all, today's ceremony marks the completion of the writing of the Torah. It is a tremendous honor and a celebration of the entire Jewish community when a Torah is completed. You will today witness its completion and all of the traditions that accompany this special and timeless Jewish ceremony. Throughout the year on the Shabbat, we read one portion of the Torah each week and conclude the reading yearly. Then we restart it. I would like to now call upon Rabbi Alon Meltzer from the ACT Jewish Community Inc. to deliver the invocation prayer, blessing our great country and its elected officials in commencing today's proceedings. A form of this very prayer is read in all synagogues in Australia when the Torah is out during the Shabbat service. Please rise for the prayer.
He who gives salvation to kings and dominion to princes, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, may he bless Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, Queen of Australia, and all the royal family. May he grant wisdom and understanding to the leaders of our nation and bless them with good counsel to uphold the peace, harmony, and prosperity of the nation, promote the happiness and well-being of every citizen, and deal justly with the house of Israel. May he bless the Australian people, enabling all of us to live in amity and mutual respect, enjoy this land's ample blessings, and ensure equal opportunity for the first people of this country as for every Australian. May our Heavenly Father spread His tabernacle of peace over all the earth. May the Redeemer come to Zion, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Meltzer. You may be seated. We will now be completing the final verse of the Torah. We will honor rabbis, major Torah sponsors, and community leaders to witness the writing of the final letters. To actually write a letter, you need to be a qualified scribe. We have the privilege of having Rabbi Eli Gutnick, the head Melbourne scribe, completing the Torah here today. Rabbi Gutnick's grandfather, who was also my grandfather, Rabbi Chaim Gutnick, passed away on this day 14 years ago. He led Australia's rabbinic councils with distinction and love for several decades. He was the senior minister of Elwood Synagogue. I'm also told he was the matchmaker for Michael Danby and his wife. The 5 Jewish MPs will individually witness the writing of the final word of the Torah, which has 5 letters. The final word of the Torah has 5 letters and is the word Yisroel, which means the nation of Israel. How fitting it is that the 5 Jewish serving members of this parliament are completing the final word in the Torah at this momentous occasion. The first letter will give around 30 seconds for each of the final 10 letters before the MPs. So the first letter I'd like to call out my father, Rabbi Feldman, head of Chabad New South Wales and Australia's current longest-serving rabbi. Please come to the Torah. Following, I'd like to call up Rabbi Nochem Shapiro, the Vice President of Rabbinical Council of Australia and New Zealand, and Rabbi of the Sydney's North Shore Chabad. Rabbi Moti Feldman, Rabbi of Dover Heights Synagogue. Rabbi Eli Feldman, I'd like to call you up to read the rest of the names out. Rabbi Eli Feldman is the Vice President of Rabbinical Council of New South Wales and the Rabbi of the New South Wales Young Adult Chabad. Eli, come here and read the rest of the names out. Rabbi Elimelech Levy, Director of Chabad Youth New South Wales. So I want to be with the pictures. So Rabbi Penny Super.
I'm stepping in here. I look similar to my brother. Rabbi Penny Super, Chabad Young Professionals in Melbourne, who's come especially for this occasion. Reverend Shmuel Keel from Chabad ACT. Jerry Albu, a dear friend, one of the principal sponsors of the Torah. Alan Ellison, Secretary of the newly established Australian Jewish Association, which is one of the sponsors of the final letters of this Torah. It is significant that AJA has written into its constitution that its policy and advocacy on behalf of the Jewish community in Australia will be guided by Torah values. Theo Menachemson, Treasurer of Chabad ACT Limited and representing the Chabad ACT Board. And His Excellency Shmuel Ben Shmuel, Ambassador of Israel to Australia, to complete a letter on behalf of the people of Israel. Now, Jerry, I think you're going to have to give that phone to Chaya Levy. All right. Please come forward, Julian Lisa, MP, towards the Torah. And
put a pause for a second.
Yep.
Just need a catch
Oh,
up.
okay. Should we pause? We'll pause.
Just two thanks. Theo and Shmuel and Jerry.
So if you're curious what's going on, this Torah took about a year to write. And these last letters are being written as we speak. So it's completing the actual scroll. And if you notice the feather that the scribe is holding, they've been using the same implement for 3,000 years, so there are no ballpoints being used for this scroll. Now we'll call up the 5 Jewish MPs to come forward to the Torah for the last letters. Julian Lisa MP, special thank you to his staff for his assistance for this event. Dr. Mike Friedlander, the Honourable Mark Dreyfus, the Honourable Michael Danby MP, who's here also representing the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Bill Shorten, And a special thank you to Michael as well and your staff for all your help for today. Minister Josh Frydenberg, who's here also representing the Prime Minister, Rabbi Malcolm Turnbull,
very helpful, thank you.
and Minister Frydenberg is asked to come towards the Torah to witness the completion of the final letter of the Torah.
Yep, perfect. Josh? You're hiding behind him. This is the pouch. They're from my bar mitzvah. Okay.
Have a good look. This is done in Israel, but the last few lines are done locally. We're doing a race from the word Israel.
Writing one of these is harder than energy policy.
Yes, this is the second.
Second last, the olive. Michael, come hold my hand. The olive from the word Yisroel.
Finished?
Ellie, announce now this is the last letter.
The final letter, the Lamed.
Please put away your phone. Ellie,
The final letter.
your phone, put away. And read the script for the last letter.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the last letter is now being written.
This is it, the Lamed from the word Yisroel.
And the Honourable Josh Frydenberg is there doing this on behalf of himself as well as the government. There's no Shmueli. Shmueli, there's no script for the last letter here. No.
Say, okay, let's do a picture. Okay, I'll go back to this. Thanks, Ellie. Sorry. Josh, can we have you standing up, please? Yeah, you're welcome to all stand here.
Thank you.
Over 300,000. Take a year to rise. You know what? This is about 5
Now that we have written the final letter, I invite the musicians and singers up to the microphones behind Rabbi Moti, behind the Torah, where we will sing the Shehechiyanu prayer. This is the traditional blessing of Shehechiyanu that is only recited on rare celebrations, and the Torah completion ceremony is one of them. We will sing it together, and for those who know the song are welcome to sing along. It's quite a fun song, but a very special blessing. And I'll recite this blessing with God's name on behalf of the Jewish community. Kindly rise for the blessing of Shehechiyanu. והגיענו לזמן הזה, שהחיינו וקיימנו, והגיענו לזמן הזה, שהחיינו וקיימנו, והגיענו לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה, לזמן הזה, You may be seated. The holiest object in Judaism is a Sefer Torah, the original biblical doctrine of law and instruction, also forming the basis for the legal system and values for most of today's civilization. It is still written today by hand with a quill from a kosher bird, a bird that's a non-predator, on parchment, as it was by Moses on Mount Sinai 3,328 years ago, and takes up to a year to write. The Torah serves as the channel for the bond of love between God and mankind. I wonder if any people has ever loved a book as we Jews love the Torah. We stand when it passes as if it were a king. We dance with it as if it were a bride. If it is desecrated or destroyed, we accord it a burial as if it were a relative or friend. We study it endlessly because in it are hidden all the secrets of our being. I wish to highlight that the last letter of the Torah just completed is the Hebrew letter Lamed, and the first letter of the Torah is Bet. Together, they spell Lev, the Hebrew word for heart. The foundation for learning Torah is to have love for God and love for all of humanity. However, how do we know what real love is? Our understanding is that God reveals himself through the words of the Torah. Therefore, the answer is found in the Torah, the word of God, in his blueprint for creation. This lesson is emphasized by the Jewish sage Hillel when he was asked to teach a beginner the whole Torah on one foot, to which he replied, "Do not do unto others what you would not like done unto you." Today we dedicate this Torah with a couple of firsts. The first for Parliament House and the first to be owned by our Canberra Synagogue. Today, let us also rededicate ourselves to its study and to the values it teaches. Thank you. It now gives me the distinct pleasure to call upon Minister Josh Frydenberg, who, as I mentioned earlier, is also representing the Prime Minister, to give greetings.
Well, thank you. It's a great pleasure to represent Menachem Turnbull here today. Can I acknowledge Rabbi Feldman and the Ambassador of Israel and the leaders of the other faiths who are here. Thank you for gracing us with your presence at such an important occasion. It is deeply appreciated. To my colleagues from the Parliament, firstly, the co-hosts of this event, Michael Danby, Julian, Lisa, Mark Dreyfus, Mike Freelander, and in his absence, Sterling Griff. It is wonderful to have a record number of Australian Jews in this Parliament, representing a cross-section of parties and communities. And it does say something about our wonderful country, that here in Australia, unlike many other countries in the world, we as Jews can proudly practice our religion, be proud of our faith and the strength of our community, and can do so in a way that adds to the strength of the Australian Parliament and the Australian community at large. There is no conflict, there is no contradiction, there is no inconsistency between being an Australian and a Jew, just as being an Australian and a Muslim, an Australian and a Hindu, or an Australian and someone of Christian faith. Can I also acknowledge my colleagues here, and particularly the Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Zed Selcher, and Matt Canavan. I see Tim Wilson, and I saw James Patterson before, Jason Felinsky, who's an honorary Jew with a name like that, Richard Malsberg, Mike Kellystein, they're all here, and even Rob Mitchellstein at the back there I could see. But it's so fantastic. Pete Khalil's been a wonderful friend of the Jewish community, and it does say something about the Parliament, that many people of different faiths are here to celebrate what is so important to us of the Jewish faith. Torah, and of course Stuart Robert, I didn't see. Stuart has been an incredible supporter of the Jewish community and of Israel. So Stuart, thank you so much for everything that you do. Can I say that the word Torah means instruction? And ever since it was handed down to Moses at Mount Sinai, it has been the basis of our religious and moral obligations, as well as our civil laws. And for those who follow the Torah, it does provide us with more than just a spiritual guide. It provides us with a degree of instruction. And this particular Torah is remarkable. To think that there are 300,000 words in this document, and that each document in the Jewish religion means something very special. And the fact that we have had an opportunity to have a letter and have a word after us is also very, very special. So it's great to be here. We're here in a bipartisan spirit, understanding and acknowledging that being Jewish, celebrating our community, following the Torah, gives us that sense of values, the sense of direction, and of course our faith, of which we're all so proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. That was outstanding and truly heartwarming to hear those words from you. It now gives me a great honour to call upon the Honourable Michael Danby to give greetings.
Esteemed rabbis, parliamentary colleagues, leaders of other faith communities, all of the distinguished guests who've come here this morning to share in this proud declaration of what a great country Australia is, with this first signing of a Torah scroll in Parliament House. I attend the Elwood Synagogue, where the grandfather of Rabbi Feldman was for many years the most famous rabbi in Australia who ministered to the survivors. And I can feel his spirit here today. He loved Australia. He would be so full of emotion to see that his grandson and family were all here to celebrate openly what a great country Australia is, and that people of all faiths, and I suppose this is the particular message to other faiths that are here too, we have a great country, very tolerant, very pluralistic, and that we all celebrate our great occasions together. And that the spirit that Rabbi Chaim Gutnick felt when he came to Australia, he told me he was posted out to, I think, Norfolk Island with some poor Australian infantry who were guarding there against the Japanese or someone. He never fired a rifle. He said he wasn't sure that he could have if the occasion had come. But he, all those years, built a spirit in the Australian Jewish community of affiliation with the great Australia. To the young Feldmans, I want to say something to your parents. You must get a lot of nachas, a lot of derived joy from these two. My wife and I know a number of members of Parliament here, work with them and other rabbis in Canberra as well, and it is really helpful for the national psyche of Australia to have input from all of the great faith groups, and particularly if you're Jewish, occasionally you get a bit of a lesson from the rabbi and a bit of assistance, and it's a process that we're all involved in. Josh was very right about the meaning of Torah, and to be honoured to sign the final letters in this one that will be permanently here in Australia is my first opportunity. I thank Rabbi Eli Gutnick for bringing along a quill that is only from a bird that must not be a bird of prey. It cannot be, the Torah has been written like that for 3,000 years. It must not be from an animal that attacks other animals. And that spirit into the writing of those 300,000 letters is the ethos of Judaism, as Rabbi Feldman said in the way Hillel tried to teach a person the essence of the Torah standing on one foot. It's wonderful to see all of my parliamentary colleagues from all sides. Sterling Griff from the Xenophon Party couldn't be here today, but it's an example of how non-partisan Australia is, and how tolerant it is, and how welcoming of the Australian Jewish community it is. I certainly feel that way. I've had a bit of a few hard days recently on that issue, but all of these guys who know me over here, and all of you who know me in the audience, know that I won't bend for a second when it comes to those issues. And I love this country, and I love all of the fact that you're all here and that we're celebrating this great Torah signing, and we thank the Feldmans and everyone here for arranging this so that we all can be in the presence of such a great event. Well done.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was great, and I just want to say that I think I can't speak for everyone in this room, but definitely the vast majority are praying at this time as well. You're going through a tough period, and it should, as King Solomon said, this too shall pass, and let's hope it passes quickly and you have all of our support. At this time now, we're up to a very special part of the ceremony, the lifting of the Torah for the very first time, accompanied by the song Etz Chaim. This verse of the song means that the Torah is a tree of life for those who cling to it, and those who uphold it are happy. Its ways are pleasant, and all of its paths peaceful. Then the traditional singing by the musicians of Siman Tov, which is sung at every Jewish Simcha celebration. I ask everyone to sing along. I call upon my father-in-law and sports champion, Rabbi Michael Kiel from Israel, to lift the Torah. Please rise. Following the lifting of the Torah, I will call upon Harry Chaim Opperman, a senior member of our community, to dress the Torah in its honorable garb. This Torah is also being dedicated to survivors of the Holocaust, who went on to contribute to societies all around the world in so many ways. Harry was born in a DP camp to parents who were sole survivors of their families after the Holocaust. Following which, Harry will also point to the inscription on the cover of the Torah. I was thinking, if not too much to ask, from the Jewish MPs to cover the Torah with the silver crown together. The first time we'll be crowning the Torah.
Shalom.